Sweet. Let me get this jingle going.
Okay.
Didn't blow my eardrums that time. Boom. How's it going, Greg?
Good. How are you? Welcome back.
Yes, we've been a little lazy. I'm sorry, everybody. Well, not really lazy, just busier than heck, and haven't been able to get a show out to you, and I apologize for that. But
yeah, sorry, missed everybody.
Yep. We haven't forgotten about you. We love doing the podcast. We like helping you. Hope you enjoy it. And thanks for all the feedback and the cares about all the posts on our community page asking, hey guys, when's the next episode? I can't wait for it. So here we go. So Greg, how you been?
Very, very busy. Summer is flying by. Feels like it's going to be over pretty soon. It's bittersweet.
Yes. Have you been working on anything exciting?
A few things. Stacks. I've been focusing on a new version of WeaverPix, and on the hosting side, all sorts of goodies. I'm trying to make things better on the hosting side. So, cool. Making backups faster and better and more reliable, and working on a new plugin for people to make SEO a little bit easier and better and more seamless than you'd find at other places. Trying to always push it, try to find competitive advantages to make Chili Dog hosting a lot better and more compelling for everybody.
Sweet.
Make the switching easier. Make it a little less of a no-brainer. So how would you? How's Total CMS 2 going?
It's going really, really, really well. Obviously everyone, I'm working on Total CMS 2. If you didn't know, for the up and coming new Weavers.space website, I'm migrating all of my products over there. So today is July 29th, and I hope to have a beta out to the insiders. Greg, you'll be on the insiders list to get a sneak peek of the new site within about a week from now. So by the beginning of August, we'll have a beta version up. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride. I was hoping that my original plan was February. I thought, I can get all this done by February, and I can't believe it's 6 months later, and I am still working on it.
Yeah, I feel you there, because I thought I would have had so much more done by now, but I think that's why we kind of did the recap episode, the mid-year review episode last time. Yep,
exactly.
It's kind of like a gut check and kind of hold us accountable for getting our stuff done.
Yep. But things are going really well. Like I said, hopefully by a week from now, I'll have a stuff for insiders, and then probably about 2 weeks after that. So probably about 2 weeks before the conference, we'll be going live with the new website, and that'll be exciting.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Can't wait.
Yep. And
so
then
you hear the news?
What news?
No. It's fine. Continue. We'll get to it.
Okay. Then, this week I also launched tickets for the conference, so people can now go to WeaverRadio.com and get tickets to the conference. That is September 7th to the 9th, right? So, and there I'm going to be giving a sneak peek into how I built the new website. So that'll be kind of fun, right? So what's this new exciting news, Greg?
I don't know if it's exciting. It's more of like, check your sites. I was just Chrome 68 came out the other day, so it finally dropped. We talked about that before, but it's finally here. So if your sites aren't SSL enabled, you're going to start getting people with error messages in Chrome that they can't connect and not secure, and throwing all these weird messages, and I'm sure will confuse a lot of people. I know I've certainly gotten people asking me about it. So that's finally live. It's Go Day, SSL Day.
Yep. So what episode was that we did that? We did a whole episode on SSL and certificates. I want to say it was episode 10. Let me quickly look it up really quick.
Sounds about right. But yeah, definitely double check it quick.
Yeah, let me. None of my I have some DNS issues with my router, and every now and then, like, it just won't connect to any website. It drives me nuts. I'd say this week has just been technical hell for me in terms of just nothing is working for me. It's just been one of those weeks.
Nice. You don't use 1.1.1.1?
I do, but I have an Eero router, the EERO, the mesh network, and I pay for their Eero Plus, right, which comes with like some like adult content filters and other filters, for the entire network. And even though I have my DNS set to 1.1.1, it still kind of goes through their system to filter stuff out. Yeah. And every now and then, it's just the past like 2 weeks, it's been like, websites that I know work just like stop working for like a minute or two. It's starting to drive me nuts. I submitted a support request 2 days ago. I finally heard back from them today. So hopefully they'll help me out and get it fixed because it's starting to drive me nuts.
That's cool. I have one of those as well. It's nice. I don't pay for the plus, so I'm not sending. I don't need it.
Yeah.
I have my daughters too. I don't have teenagers or near teenagers. So I don't have to worry about that at this time.
Yeah, so it's nice. You can set up with the plus. You can set up like profiles for various devices. So I could like. I have a profile set up for my teenagers, all of his devices, and I could just be like, boom, you're shut down now, man. Time to go to bed.
Yeah.
It's very cool. And it's actually kind of interesting. So I have another profile set up for, sorry, we're kind of going off on tangent here, but it's okay. I have a profile set up for all my things, right? So like my Nest cams and like all my Internet of Things stuff, right? And everything, like if I know I'm doing this show, I'll just quickly go on and turn off all of that stuff so that, I know it's not eating up any sort of bandwidth because all those Nest cams and whatnot, like I'm home. I don't really need them streaming stuff to the internet and using up my bandwidth while I know when I need it. Right. So that's good.
Sure. Yeah. So it looks like it was episode 10. Jump onto the HTTPS bandwagon.
Boom. Look at that.
So you're right. You have a good memory.
Well, I've been recommending it to a few people because I know people were talking about this Chrome release on the forums, and a couple people are like, "Oh, I need to move to HTTPS now." So I've been pointing them to that episode a few times. So, it's a great episode. Check that out. There is some mixed feelings I have now about that. Now that it's kind of out, because like over the. I've been having technical issues this week. One of the technical issues is I've had some hard drive failures in my Mac Pro. So I bought a new Synology, and I was setting that up, on Friday when we were at the Hangout. And so I was setting all that up, and it's all done on the web. It has a web interface to manage the actual device. And the device, it just uses HTTP, right? There's no real need. It's on my local network to install like HTTPS certificates on it and all that jazz. But like when I went to the web browser, the interface, I got a little message saying non-secure, website. And I'm like, yes, it is non-secure, but like it's on my local network, right? Like, does it really need it? I don't know. So interesting conundrum where I'm wondering how browsers are going to, are they going to block people from potentially eventually trying to visit an HTTP site that's like their local router? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. If you get like really technical, there's a whole thing about like .dev domains. If you have a dev domain, it has to be HTTPS, and you can't use it for local development too. It's a side tangent, beyond where you're going, but same problem. It's like, oh, this just messed up my development workflow because I basically run a little web server and set up some domains. Like I'd have cds.dev for doing Chili Dog software development, and all of a sudden I need to have it has to be SSL, and I had to change it from .dev to some other domain TLD because .dev is a real TLD, and you can't use that real TLD, and so.
Yeah, I used to try to do that a long time ago. I used to use .dev for like my local like little website, like test sites on my local Mac, and I remember running into that now. Yeah, I switched to everything that's like .local now. That's kind of what I use, but
I think that's the recommended thing to do.
Yeah,
it's just like it gets harder and harder just to do simple development. Somewhat, you know. Um, yeah, yeah. So speaking of automatic stuff, I'm getting ready to release something pretty cool. I'm excited about.
Sweet. What's that?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's get a drum roll. Ready?
Okay, drum roll.
Go for it.
Okay, there we go. All right, I couldn't hear anything, so I'm just waiting for your audio. So I just it's a sitemap helper for chili dog hosting customers. So basically every night.
First off, Greg, what is a sitemap file?
Oh, Joe, you want to take it back? All right.
Yes.
Sitemap, yeah, it's basically a catalog of all the URLs for your site. So it lets search engines know what pages to crawl that exist on your website, so it can find and index everything pretty easily. It's really if you think of it, break it up, a sitemap. It's really that. It's a map for your site. So it's like navigating your site. How do we find everything on your site to index for search engines? So Google, Bing, and all the other search engines will read this file and then crawl your site based on that. So what I've been working on and what I'm in the process of getting, testing and looking to get released pretty soon is a sitemap helper. So every night after you publish your websites, your sitemap gets submitted to Google and Bing automatically. So you get indexed faster, get indexed better. You don't have to worry about updating or submitting your sitemap to Webmaster Tools or any of those other places. So from the get-go, you're getting indexed, you're starting to get ranking and all that kind of good stuff. And you will have control over this, so you can enable and disable it on a per site basis. And you can opt into email, so you get notifications when a new sitemap gets submitted. So it's pretty cool, and it only happens once a night. So if you make multiple changes, it doesn't get submitted multiple times, and it only happens if the sitemap changes. So if you don't publish any changes to your site, it doesn't get resubmitted, and you're good.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how does this differ? I know that like RapidWeaver, it does do sitemap files, right? So
yes.
If I'm using RapidWeaver to create a sitemap file, well, RapidWeaver does it for you automatically, right? So inside I believe it's in the, I should look at what settings is it, Greg? I think it's in the general settings advanced, correct?
Yes.
And if you're newfangled and using RapidWeaver 8, you don't need to go to general settings to look at the advanced settings anymore. Advanced is right below general in the settings. And inside there is a checkbox for, what is it? Generate search engine sitemap. There we go.
You got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you check that, okay, basically what happens is RapidWeaver takes all of your pages, okay, all of the pages that are, I believe, if correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but if you have a page set to not, what is it, disabled, right? If you set a page to be disabled, then, hold on.
Or draft.
Is it? Oh, yeah, they changed it to draft now. That's right.
Yep.
It used to be disabled. Yep. So if you set a page to be draft, it will not show up inside the sitemap file, right? So that's important. If you want to make sure that a page is not inside your sitemap file, set it to draft and it won't be in there. Okay.
Because it won't get published.
Yes. And yes, exactly. And so the Sitemap XML file gets created when you publish to the server. So now there is a plugin from Yourhead, right? Our favorite makers of stacks, that is called Sitemap Plus. And it gives you a little bit more granular control with things, right? So if you go to Sitemap Plus, just looking, yes, it is. You can still purchase it from Yourhead. And it gives you a little more granular control in terms of, you can basically manually define everything. It has some other cool things, like I use it a lot for if you want to like globally see like all your titles for every single page and all of that stuff. You can kind of edit them all from one location. It's kind of it's not the main feature of that plugin, but it's a nifty one. Then you can also like set for every single page, kind of like the weight. I guess there's in Sitemap, there's like some sort of weight setting. I'm not really sure like how good that really is in terms of how search engines differentiate that stuff. Like the frequency of change, I think it is. Like you tell the search engine how many or how often you expect this page to change. I don't know. I'm not sure really how helpful those things are, but Sitemap Plus is a nice addition if you want a little bit more granular control with your sitemap files.
Yeah, I've used it a lot for that purpose that you mentioned, is basically making sure all my pages have titles and all that kind of SEO stuff sorted out. It makes it easy to manage all that. So definitely, it's a good plugin. But to your point, the sitemap helper that I'm referring to is very different. It's not about generating a sitemap; it's about getting it submitted to Google automatically for you, so you don't have to worry about going in, submitting it, getting it updated. It will tell Google that your sitemap updated and to recrawl it. So
now do you submit it to Bing as well?
Yep, Bing too. So
sweet.
Yeah, so it's just off in there, and Google will come back and crawl your site at their convenience. Of course, and nobody knows exactly when they'll come back, right?
Yeah,
but they've been notified. So they know to come back and be better, hopefully, and win-win, right?
Sweet. Yeah. So another side bit with the sitemap files is RapidWeaver. If you're using anything that generates pages or content outside of a RapidWeaver page, okay, an example is a CMS. So, for example, if you're using my Total CMS blog, right, that generates a kind of a virtual page, right, that isn't inside RapidWeaver for every single blog post. Now, obviously, you want Google and Bing and other search engines to index these blog posts as well. So the way Total CMS does it is that it will generate a sitemap for you, okay? And I'm already working with Greg so that his newfangled sitemap tool will handle this for you as well. So if you're using Chili Dog, make sure that, and you're using Total CMS, make sure you check out how you can add all these new sitemaps for your blogs into his tool, and then they'll get auto submitted to Google and Bing. If you're not using Chili Dog, basically you need to go into the Google Webmaster Tools and Bing Webmaster Tools, give them the URL to the this blog sitemap file that you can get from the admin area. You just the blog, inside the blog links lightbox, you can copy the URL and just paste it straight into Google or Bing, right? Or into Greg's newfangled tool. So say it again, Greg.
No, so I'm really excited about this. It's exclusive. You won't find this anywhere else, and it's just one way I'm trying to make things a lot easier and simplified and streamlined for users. Yeah,
because it is cool because a lot of times, even myself, like I always forget to go to Google Webmaster Tools or the Bing stuff, and like I always forget to do that. So anything like this tool, if the hosting company just automatically does it for you, all the better. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, for users that are using other CMSs, like Pulse or Go or something else, make sure that if you are concerned about these extra pages getting indexed properly, make sure that you talk to those devs to see if it's possible. I don't know if they are. I'm not a pro at the other systems, but Total CMS, we got you covered. So.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm glad you brought this up, mentioned it to me first, and I'm glad you've actually gone through the extra work and implemented something like this, because it's really helpful for search engines very much to know how a user can get around their site so that pages can be indexed properly. Otherwise, a site, Google is going to depend on links to these pages and to discover them. So the sitemap file really helps it navigate across your site. So, bravo to you as well. Bravo to you as well, sir.
Sweet. Thank you.
Hat tip.
So next up, I figured while we're talking about files that help with search engines, right? There's one other file that I know of. I think this is the only other one that kind of is a file that you would create on your server that would help you with search engine optimization. And that is the Robots.txt file, right?
Yes.
Now, this file, you can create it manually. And if you just go to robots.txt.org, okay, that is kind of gives you a little really simple. It's a very simple file to create, okay, and you can actually create it inside RapidWeaver. If you're in, if you're in RapidWeaver 7 or above, okay, you can create a file. Just name it robots.txt, and then make sure the next step. So add an HTML file to the page, okay, HTML file. Name that file robots.txt. Then go into the page inspector and make sure that file is set to not use a theme at all, okay? Because you don't want it to publish any of the theme stuff with it. At that point, basically whatever you publish will then get, whatever you add to the page will get published into this robots.txt file. So essentially what it is you have the ability to tell search engines will automatically look for this file at the top of your website. So again, it's called robots.txt. And you can tell it if you want it to not and disallow them from looking at particular folders, right? You can also limit it by user agent. So you could if you want to target just a particular search engine, you can. I think that's kind of a waste. I wouldn't recommend looking at that at all. But if you want to disallow them from looking at particular directories, that is good. Okay. So, that way you could just say disallow : and then, / the name of your folder, and search engines will attempt not to look at that. And when I say attempt is because we're kind of unsure on this. I've read many different stories on how this all kind of functions, but if you have a folder set to be disallowed, but you have another page on your website that Google or search engine has indexed, and it links to a page that is in the disallow folder, that page, because it's linked to, will still be indexed. Is that kind of what you've heard, Greg? What do you think?
Kind of. It's, as you said, because we're not on the inside.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say for sure. And it kind of depends on what's their final authority on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hesitant to say yes and no, but it sounds logical. So I would say if you're really trying to do this, maybe add a meta tag there to say no index, that just to be ensured that the page you're trying to avoid being indexed is actually not indexed. Might be a solid backup plan. But I should also add this robot stuff is for well programmed, well behaving, good citizen search engines, not necessarily any search engines or spammers or bots that don't give,
Yeah. Essentially, Google will most likely respect your robots.txt file. They're, probably going to be one of the better search engines, even though I still don't trust them. That I do believe that Google will trust your robots.txt file.
Yes. But, there's plenty of other search engines and bots and spammers that are trying to crawl the web, searching your sites. They're not going to care.
Yep.
So that's the big thing. If you really want to keep content up, don't install Google Analytics. Don't install any of those analytics or add stuff. Add code, add a password to your page. Either use a password directory feature built into many control panels, or Joe your page safe tool, something like that. You can add a meta tag to the page, or you can add the robots.txt. But first things first, don't install any analytics. Put a password in front of it. Keep any content out of the browser and out of the page unless you're actually a user. So
yep. Now there is one more level of robot stuff that you could do, and there are, like Greg said, there are meta tags that you can add to the page itself. And in theory, if a search engine is good, even if a page is linked to and you have this meta tag that tells it not to index, okay, it won't index that page, right? So, and RapWeaver 7 and above makes that really easy inside the meta tags directory for a page inside the page inspector. So if you go to your page and then go to the page inspector, you'll see that there's 2 checkboxes. There's an index this page and a follow links page, right? Checkbox. So by default, those are checked. If you uncheck those, it'll pretty much guarantee that a search engine that is a good one will not index that page, right? So that is another layer of more granularity that you can have by adding those meta tags, by unchecking those checkboxes inside the page inspector.
Yep. It's right there. Right. Meta tags, nice and easy. Cool.
Sweet.
All right, Joe.
Well, that pretty much covers what I thought we would cover today. We're pretty good.
Yeah. Great. Glad we're actually finally able to get our schedules in sync and catch up. And as always, good to talk to you.
Yep. So without further ado, Greg, how can people find your beautiful face?
Well, you may not be able to find my beautiful face, but you can certainly visit my website, chili.software.com. My words.
And your beautiful products.
Yes. chili.software.com and chili.hosting.com and at Barshard on Twitter or chili.host on Twitter.
Sweet.
How about you, Joe? Where can we find you?
I am at Joe Workman everywhere and at WeaverSpace as well. So if you're looking for our new brand and all that stuff, it's at WeaverSpace everywhere. So Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. But if you want to follow me, I'm at Joe Workman on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. And as always, if you like this show, please go to iTunes and leave us a review. I really appreciate that. And if you want to listen to any of our past shows, go to WeaverRadio.com and you can go to the archives and listen to all of our past episodes and subscribe to us from your favorite, podcast player. What's your favorite podcast player, Greg? Never asked.
I toss between 2, Castro and Overcast.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I am a Castro user. I like Castro a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They released a new version about a month ago or so, or 2 months ago. And I'm digging it. I like it.
Cool. Yeah. I liked the skipping the white space in Overcast.
Yes, I did like that. Castro has it now, the new version. So I did miss that in Overcast. But I like how Castro manages its episodes better. Like has like an inbox and then you have a queue. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we will see you again soon. Thanks, Greg.
Later. Thank you. Bye.
Boom. Done.